Yes, good evening, everyone. My voice is audible. Okay, we'll start the session. So, what was the topic we discussed yesterday? Yes, what was the topic we discussed? Yesterday, we discussed about what is the main feature of the Linux OS, why it is called open source. So, we discussed that Linux is an operating system. Which type of operating system? Open source operating system. So, I hope you remember we discussed open source means the source code of the Linux operating system, which is designed by Linus Torvald, is freely available over the internet, which Linus Torvald himself put it, so that anybody can access that source code and they can add some features and make their own OS, Linux OS. That's why in Linux we have so many flavors. Yesterday we have discussed like Red Hat, Ubuntu, Kali Linux, SUSE, Debian, so many are there. Why it is possible? Because the Linux kernel operating system, Linux main part of the Linux OS, Linux kernel, which is designed by Linus Torvald. We put it over the internet, which anybody can take it and add some features and make their own OS. But all the Linux flavors will be designed using the Linux kernel, which is designed by Linus Torvald. So if you good with one flavor, you can work on other flavor. Yes. So this is what we have discussed in yesterday's session. Now coming to today's session, we will discuss like since last 2 days, we are discussing that most of the people in the world are using Windows, but most of the servers in the world, most of the companies, they are using their servers. In most of the companies, the servers are running on Linux OS. So what is the reason for that? Why the companies prefer to use their server on Linux? Most of the clients prefer to use Windows because it is easy to operate, but most of the servers in the companies are working on Linux. Why? There has to be some reason for that. Yes. So what is the reason for that? Because Linux is more secure. Apart from that, Linux has certain features like it supports multiple users to log in. It is open source operating system. It supports multitask to be done without logout. It's has a scalability feature, means we can use the same OS as a client and server. Then it has low downtime. Whenever we add any new service, we don't have to restart the service. We don't have to restart the system in Windows. Not all, but for some of the service, you have to restart the machine. So if it is a production server, when the server is rebooted, the service will not be available during rebooting. So that comes under downtime. But in Linux, whenever we add any new services in Linux, we don't have to restart the system. Just we need to restart the service. So the downtime will be less in Linux. So these are some of the important features in Linux. So I repeat, what are the features in Linux? First of all, it is open source. It is free. Then it supports multiple users to log in and perform multiple tasks without logout. Same OS can be used for server and client. So here, when we are using the Linux OS, when we configure the server, when we install some service and make a server, we don't have to restart the system, which is required in Windows. Here, we can just restart the service. So downtime will be less. Apart from all these things, major advantages were the Linux has very good security. So that aspect we will see. Apart from that, the Linux OS can be installed on multiple partitions, which we'll be seeing in the next week. So when we install the Windows OS can be installed on single partition. So it is easy to operate, but disadvantage, when one of the OS folder in Windows get corrupted, entire OS will be corrupted. So that problem in Linux will not arise because Linux OS can be installed on multiple partitions. So we will see next week how to install the Linux OS. Today is Saturday, tomorrow is Sunday. So Sunday there will be no session. So today we'll see why the Linux is being preferred in the server. So the most important aspect is it is having very good security, stability. So that point we'll try to understand. Okay, so let me open it. So yesterday, I think 2 members have made the payment and they have pinged to my mail ID. And I hope I have sent you the required material. Yes, I didn't remember, sorry, the names, but I have sent it. So let's start now. Yes. Now we'll see why Linux has been preferred by the companies as their server. So first we will see the structure of the Linux OS. So any operating system is a collection of programs. Now let us first talk about the Linux. So yes, now suppose I have installed in this machine, suppose Linux operating system, because our focus is on Linux. So let me assume this is my laptop. So let me assume this is my laptop. In this laptop, suppose I have installed Linux. So like any operating system, Linux is also a collection of program. So Linux is also a collection of program or software. So I can say just 1 minute. So let me just see here. So this is my laptop. Let me imagine on this laptop, I have installed Linux operating system. So like any operating system, Linux is also a collection of program. Linux is also a collection of, any operating system is a collection of program. So same way, Linux operating system is also a collection of program. So this collection of program is logically divided into 2 levels. So this collection of program logically is divided into 2 levels, level 1 and level 2. So in the level 1, in the level 1, we have the first program. That first program here is called shell. So in the first program, what it is called? Shell. And the second program is called as, at second level is called as the Linux kernel. So the complete Linux operating system. So complete Linux operating system is logically divided into two levels. Level 1, shell, and level 2, the main part of the Linux OS is Linux kernel. So the first part is what? Shell. So what is the default shell we are using in Linux? So /bin/bash. This is the default shell. So if you want to apply any command, what we need to open in Linux? We need to open the terminal. So whenever we open the terminal, what we open? We open the shell. So when we open the terminal, we open what? The shell, or we uses what? The shell. So what is the default shell we uses? When we open the shell, open the terminal, what will use? We use the shell. So what is the default shell we are using in Linux? This is the program name, shell name, /bin/bash. So now what is the role of this shell? We will discuss. And the second part of the Linux OS is what? That is called the main part of the Linux OS. So the main part of the Linux OS is main part of the Linux OS is called Linux kernel, and it is also referred as, this is also referred as the, like in our body, the main part of our human body is what? Brain. So you can call this as a core or brain of the Linux operating system. So what is the role of this kernel and shell? We will discuss in detail now. So the complete Linux operating system. So the structure of Linux OS will be like this. So the first layer or the first part of Linux OS is shell. Second part is Linux kernel. So let us see the use. So in Windows, there is no shell. In the Windows operating system, shell will not be there. But in Linux, it is there. Because of that, Linux is more secure and stable. How we will see now. So what is the role of the shell? Shell is the interface between the user and the kernel. So whenever we want to do any task in Linux, normally what we will do, we have to write the command. So where we will write the command, like in Windows, to write the command, we have to open command prompt. So same way in Linux, if you want to do any task, we have to do the task with the command. So even though graphical interface is there, but we'll do with the command. Why? Because when we do the task with the command, virus cannot enter and the task will be done immediately, faster. So that is why the companies preferred us as an administrator to use the command, because virus cannot enter and the work will be done faster. So now when we want to apply the command, we need to open the terminal. So whenever we open the terminal, what is the default shell we use in Linux? /bin/bash. It is the name of the shell. So what is the role of the shell? So if you want to do any command, you have to if you want to apply any command, you need to open what? Terminal. So as soon as you open the terminal, means you have open the default shell. What is the default shell in Linux? /bin/bash. So what is the default shell we use in Linux? /bin. So now what is the work of this slash? So what the slash will do once we open the terminal and write our command. So the first thing the shell will do is it will check the command is proper or not. So what is the role of the command? What is the role of the shell? It is work like a command checker. So whatever command we have given, it's correct or not, it will check. It is there under the predefined commands. So the commands will be defined by the vendor. So whoever releases the OS, they will give list of commands, thousands of commands. So once the user writes the command, the shell will check the command given is proper or not. It is there in the predefined commands or not. So if it is not there, immediately what it will do? Command not found. You can see the error, command not found. That means we have given not proper command. So first thing what it will do, it will check the command given by the user is correct or not. That's why it is called command checker. So now suppose if it is command is correct, if it is not correct, it will immediately inform it, command not found. So we have to understand that command is not pre-existing or not existing or not there in the predefined commands. So what is the advantage of that? Suppose if somebody send you virus file. So in Windows, by default file will have execute permission so that any user can run that file. So if it is a virus file, your OS will get corrupted. But if it's suppose that same file is been sent on Linux machine, first of all, in Linux machine, the file will not have execute permission. So the user cannot execute also. Now, if somebody try to execute also, it will check it is there in the predefined command or not. So virus will not be there in the predefined command. So it will not run. So Linux is secure. So In Windows, the file can be executed, but here the file will be not executed. It will check it is there in the predefined command or not. If it is not there, it will not run. If it is there, so first it will check the command. If the command is proper, then what it will do? What it will do? Machine understand only which language? Our machine, that is computer, understand hardware of the computer understand binary language. So when we write the command, it will be in high level language. So what happens once we write the command? First, the command will be correct or not. It will check by the shell. Once it is found the command is correct, then what it will do? The command will be in high level language. So it will convert or translate or changes. Okay. Or it will resolve that name into that command which we have given high level into binary. So this will happen in the background. So once we write the command, press enter. So immediately what the command the shell will do, it will check the command is correct or not. It is there in the predefined or not. If it is not correct, it will immediately write command not found. But if it is there and it is correct, immediately what it will do, it will convert that command which is in high level language to binary, and it will send it to the, so this it will not show on the screen. So once the command is given, enter. Now in the background, what it will do, it will check the command is correct or not. If it is not found, immediately it will show message, command not found. If it is correct, then in the background, what it will do, it will convert that command which is in high level language to binary. Then it will send that command which is converted into binary into the Linux kernel, the main part of the Linux OS. Now it will be sent to the Linux kernel. Now what the Linux kernel will do? Linux kernel is the brain or the core of the Linux operating system. So now the kernel is something like a brain. So what is the function of our brain in our body? So whenever we do any task, so which particular task should be done by which particular part of the body will be decided in our case. So in our case, as a human being, whenever we are doing any task, so which particular part of the body should do which particular task will be decided, controlled and managed by our brain. So exactly same way, whenever a task is written, so first the shell will check that command is correct or not. If it is correct, it will convert that into binary and send it to the kernel. Now kernel is the interface or bridge between the user and the resources. So now what it has to do, it will work like a brain. So now it will decide this particular task should be done by which particular part of the hardware or software in the machine. So it will send that task to that particular hardware. Now the output is available. If the output is available, immediately what it will do, the kernel will send the output, which is in binary form, to the shell. Now shell will convert the output from binary to high level. Binary to high level. Whereas when the input is given, what the shell will do, it will convert that from high level to binary. When the output comes, it will convert. The output is in binary format. So it will convert that binary into high level and displays on the monitor. So this is what happens when we use the Linux operating system. So in Windows, do you have the shell? No. But in Linux, you have the shell. So it is working like a security layer. So if the command is unknown, the shell will not allow you to run. So there is any virus attack can happen in Linux? No. But do you have such feature in Windows? No. So in Windows, the files will be identified with extension like .exe file, executable file with what extension .exe. Database file will have what extension in Windows .dat, database file. Media file will have what extension MP3. Batch file will have what .p. But in Linux, file doesn't have any extension. So in Linux, file will be identified by File will be identified by symbols and alphabet. So now here I have mentioned symbols and alphabet. So suppose when we start the creating of files, I'll show you. If it is a file, the first character will be hyphen. So this is the symbol for file, normal file. If it is a hidden file, the file name starts with dot. So if it is a block file, first character will be B. If it is a soft link, the first letter will be L. If it is a socket file, yes. If it is a directory, first letter will be D. If it is a pipe file, first letter P. So in Linux, the file will be created with what permission? No execute permission to any one of the category. Any one of the category. But in Windows, it have execute permission. So the file will get executed. So if it is a virus file, in Windows, it will be executed. And there is no architecture level security because there is no shell in the Windows. And at the OS level also, its security is like only firewall. But in Linux, we have an IP table, SC Linux, which makes Linux very secure. Apart from this, the Linux installation can be done on multiple partitions, whereas Windows OS installation can be done on single partition. So what is the advantage with single partition? It is easy to operate, but disadvantage in Windows, if one of the OS folder get corrupted, the entire OS will be lost. Whereas in the Linux, when we do the installation, I'll show you, Linux OS can be installed on multiple partition. Linux OS can be installed on multiple partitions. So what is the benefit or advantage with that? So in Linux, if one of the OS folder get corrupted, entire OS will not get corrupted. So apart from that, Linux is very secure at the architecture level as well as the security level. So that is the reason you will find most of the company servers they prefer to use what? Which OS as on their server? Yes, please. Up to this we have discussed now. So tell me, the companies prefer to use which server OS to be used on their server? Yes, I'm audible. Yes, please, anybody. So why the companies prefer to use which OS? Linux, yes. So did you got some idea now? Why? Because Linux is open source. So many features support hardware independent. It can be installed on any OS. It doesn't require any specific hardware which was required in Unix, like we have discussed yesterday. Solaris can be installed only on Sun machine. AX can be installed on only IBM machine. So if you are changing the OS, you have to change the hardware. Yesterday we discussed this. See here, Solaris, IBM AX, HP AX. Yes. So how the Linux operating system is being arranged or classified? First level is shell, second kernel. So what the shell will do? It will work like a command checker. After checking the command, if it is correct, it will convert that from a high level to binary and send to kernel. So this is the role of the kernel. Sorry, this is the role of the shell. Now the kernel, what it will do, it is called the brain, or main part of the Linux OS. So it will decide, it will control which particular task should be done by which hardware and software. Just like in our body, brain control all our activities. Which particular part of the body should do which work at what time, it will be decided, controlled and managed by our brain. So same way, Linux kernel will decide this particular task should be done by which hardware. So once the particular hardware does the work, then the output is in binary format. So it will send, the kernel will send the output to again to the shell. Shell will now convert the output from binary to high level. So this is what internally happens with the Linux. Yes, Linux is more secure. Like in Windows, you don't have any shell security, but in Linux you have. Apart from that, Linux OS can be installed on multiple partitions, which you cannot do in Windows, only single partition. And apart from that, Linux is more secure. Like in Windows, you have only one security firewall. In Linux, multiple security. Apart from firewall, you have IP table, SC Linux, which makes Linux secure. Apart from that, Linux OS can be installed on multiple partition, which makes it very secure and stable. So these are the some of the important reasons which makes the Linux as one of the major operating system which is being used in most of the companies or server. Okay, I hope you understood this. So in Linux, the files are identified by the character and alphabet, or symbols and alphabet. So if it is a first character, hyphen means normal file, dot means hidden file. For block file, B. For link file, L. Socket file, S. If it is a directory, first letter D, like this. So Linux is not only required to work like a Linux admin, but it is a foundation course for higher courses. DevOps, AWS, VMware, Oracle, Hadoop, SAP. Without Linux, you will not able to work on these technologies. Okay. So are you understanding everyone? Is it clear? If you are not getting any particular point, please ask me. So up to this, have you understood or any questions, any doubt, please? Anyone? Yes, I'm waiting for your reply. Have you understood or if any questions, any doubt, please write it. Okay, so any doubts? Okay, no. So up to this, it is clear. Is it clear to everyone? Okay. So now, if you want to understand the Linux, you need to understand the structure. So that is called file system, hierarchy standard. So here in Windows, when we install the Windows OS get installed where? On the C drive. But when you install the Linux OS, in Linux, there is no drive letter concept. So Windows OS get installed on C drive, whereas the Linux OS, when we install it, it will get installed where? Any idea, anybody? Any idea, anyone? Where exactly the Linux OS will get installed? Like if I'm installing, I have taken one machine, new machine, and install the Linux OS. Everybody knows where it will get installed Windows OS, C drive. Likewise, I want to know if I've taken the machine and installed the Linux OS, where it will get installed. Yes, where it will get installed. Okay. So in Windows, the OS will be installed on C drive, but in Linux, where it will get installed. So here, no. See, if you are using the VMware, you can install the Windows OS on any drive. But if you are taking directly, you are doing the installation on the physical machine. So where exactly the Windows OS get installed, Prabhakar? If you do through the VMware, you can select the drive. But if there is no OS, if there is no OS installed, there is no VMware. Directly you are installing on the physical machine. Where the Windows OS get installed? And definitely the C drive. So if I install the Windows now, if I install the Windows, the OS get installed on C drive. Same way, if I install the Linux, where it will get installed. Any idea, anyone? No? So please remember, in Windows, everything is based on drive letter. In Linux, everything is based on the directory. So whenever we install the Linux OS, where exactly the Linux OS will get installed? here. This is, so it is called slash. Which slash it is? Forward slash, which is called root directory. So this is the Linux operating system structure. So whenever we install the Linux OS, the Linux OS will get installed where? On the slash, which is called root directory. So this root directory contain many subdirectories. So when we are reading this name, we have to say slash before the name, like slash has been, slash top, slash boot, slash root, slash dev, slash has been, slash etc, slash xrv, slash home, slash sys, slash lib, slash temporary. So all this. So here the Linux OS get installed on the slash. Slash contain many subdirectories. Okay, so have you understood this? So now we need to understand, if you want to operate the Linux operating system, we need to understand where exactly what data will be stored. Like we are more familiar with the Windows. So suppose I'm having in my machine, suppose Windows OS. Suppose this is my machine which I have purchased. Now in this machine, by default, they are giving what nowadays? Windows OS. Windows operating system is there. So when I install the Windows OS, my laptop or my machine, where exactly the Windows OS will get installed? In Windows C drive. C drive is a collection of many folder. C drive is a collection of many folder. One of the folder is Windows. Under the Windows, you have subfolders like System32. Then here, drivers. So this is the folder in which it contains System32 folder, drivers, locked file. Okay, so C drive is a collection of folder. One of the folder is Windows. Another folder is program file. So this is a Windows folder. Inside the Windows folder, you'll have System32 drivers, log file, etc. Like that. Now the C drive consists of many folders like program file. So program file contain what? All installed application. Okay, so whenever we install any application, where it will get installed in Windows? Where the application will get installed? In the program file. All installed application will be stored in Windows in program file. So same way, you have a folder with a name called users. So it contains a separate folder under the user, separate folder called administrator. Separate folder called administrator. It contains administrator user created files and data. So it contains admin data in the form of files and folder. Along with this, for each and every user, one folder will be created. So here we can create U1 data. Now see here, U2. So it can see the U2 data. So in this is easy to operate, but the problem here is, suppose this user has downloaded some file in that. So suppose it is downloaded from unverified source. So it got affected with the virus. So once this folder get affected, it will affect this because this folder belongs to here. Once it get affected, it will immediately verify with the Okay, are you following? So now here, if my U1 is get affected due to any reason, so it will affect the user. User will affect CJ. So the complete OS will get corrupted. So the complete OS will get corrupted. Okay. So here easy to operate, but disadvantage is one of the OS folder get corrupted, entire OS will be lost. So this problem will not be there in Linux because the Linux OS can be installed on multiple partitions. That we will see next week. So before that, we have to understand the structure. Like in Windows, when we install the Windows OS, where it is getting installed on C drive. The C drive contain many folder, important folder, like Windows. So Windows folder contain detail related with what? Okay. So here one folder get affected means entire OS will be affected. This is the major problem in the Windows. So do you now if it is a Linux machine, do we get such problem? No, because the Linux machine, there is no drive letter. So the OS will get installed where? On the directory. Which directory? Slash, which contain many subdirectories. So these are the important subdirectories. So on Monday, we will see which directory contain which data. So here in Linux, while doing the installation, whichever type of server we want to configure and which directory is important, for that we'll create a separate partition. So it will be part of the slash, but it will have own space. So if that get corrupted, it will get corrupted that particular folder only, not the entire OS. So I hope you are understanding that. Is it clear? So each and everything we will discuss this, the structure of the Linux OS on Monday. Tomorrow is Sunday, so there will be no session. So on Monday, we will see each and every folder contain which type of data. Okay, so once we understand this, we can operate the Linux OS. We can understand where exactly what things will get stored. So on Monday, we will discuss each and every folder this. So before I close the session, now if you have any questions, any doubt related with today's session or with yesterday's session, please you can ask. Yes, anyone, any questions, any doubt? Rajesh, Prabhakar, Safi, Sudhir. So you are asking examination cost? It will be roughly, I think, it will be in dollars. So I think roughly it is 240 something. See, validity will be there lifelong. Once you clear this, because what they will do in any OS, after certain years, 3 years, 4 years, they'll launch what? A new, like they will release new version. So for new version, again they introduce what? The certification. But if you are written some years back, that validity will be lifelong. But it is better if you update. For update purpose, once you write it, you can only go for the upgrade. So at that time, little bit less they will offer you. It's a concession they'll give little bit. Validity will be lifelong. See why? So why the OS required? Why OS is required partition type means? See, if you install the OS on multiple partitions, suppose one of the OS get folder corrupted. So that folder belong to which partition that will get affected instead of like in Windows. The complete OS is on a single partition. So in single partition, what happens if one of the OS folder get corrupted? Entire OS will get affected. But if you create the OS partition in multiple, so if suppose if one of the OS folder get corrupted due to any reason, that folder belong to which partition, that will get affected, not the entire OS. That's why we will create multiple partition. Okay. So whenever we open the terminal, Sudhir, what happens? What is the default shell we uses? Bin bash. So what is the role of this bin bash shell? It will check the command given by us is correct or not. If it is correct, it will now check second thing, which user has given, root user or normal user, because only root can execute any command, whereas the normal users can execute only certain commands. So if the normal user is given the command which only root can execute, immediately you can see access denied or permission denied. So that is the role. Apart from that, if the command is correct, it will convert that. Once we give the command, it will check three things. First, command is correct or not. If it is correct, second, which user is given. Then if it is everything, if both is correct thing, then in the background, what it will do, it will convert that command into binary and send it to the next level, that is the kernel. Now kernel will check. Now kernel will decide this task should be done by which hardware. It will send to that. The task will be done. Output will be available in binary form. Then the kernel will send the output again to shell, which will convert the output from binary to high level, displays on the monitor. So this is what exactly happens when we use the Linux OS. Is it clear? Okay. So any other question, any other doubt? So tomorrow is Sunday. See, if it is any, that is just a GPT is a partition table. There are two partition tables, MBR or GPT. If you do installation in one partition, if anything to the OS folder, if any one of the OS folder get affected, it affect entire operating system, whether you install in GPT or MBR. Always use multiple partition for stability and security. Yes. So is it okay for today? Any other question, or can I close the session? Okay, so that's it for today. So that tomorrow is Sunday. So enjoy your weekend. So we'll meet on Monday. So those people who has made the payment, you just ping to my mail ID. And those who are not made the payment, please make it payment. Thank you, Safi. Same to you. That's what I'm saying to all of you. Happy weekend. Enjoy it. We'll meet on Monday. So by Monday, those who have not made the payment, please do it, so that you'll be getting the recording sessions plus all the this, and we will also start the practicals from maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. Okay. Okay. So that's it for today. Thank you, everyone. I'm closing this session.